Let's see what happens with that. Let's see who competes with the Fireside tonight. Late night with the Underground. Oh yeah. See who shows up from over. Let me know if you came over from Facebook. I'm trying to see if I can find me on. I wonder if it has to be Woodland Park Underground Live. Oh no, there I am, live. I'm trying to see if I can see the chats on my. See if I can see the chats on my big screen. More. Oh wait, here we go. Feedback. On your phone or computer, visit or scan. Stats for nerds. Can you like? I guess I can't see the chats on my smart TV. So let's see what y'all are saying here. There we go. But now I can't browse Facebook while I listen to you. Of course you can. Yeah, you can browse Facebook. You just have to pull Facebook up in another. Oh, you're talking about in the Facebook Messenger. I got you. What time is it here? It's like midnight. Real name Nings came from Facebook. Hey. Yeah, see, I'm going to start putting y'all together. I'll know who. But look at the. Is it lagging? I wonder if it's lagging because I'm trying to stream it. Trolls on Facebook. No, it had nothing to do with that. I'm actually trying to build my Facebook channel a little bit, and I hadn't done a fireside chat from here. But since I'm here, I figured I would, and I'll do a little something extra for the YouTubers. So, what do y'all want to talk about? Where's Mrs. Underground? The whole underground is asleep, where I should be, but I'm too wired, and I'm not gonna go lay in bed and just roll over. Wish I could keep my chat up on my YouTube though. It's midnight-ish, maybe a little bit after-ish. Where's everybody from tonight? Where we got? Who's in the house tonight? Where y'all from? Jamie's back, Texas chick. Oh, I found you. Or you found me. I decided to move over here to YouTube. I'm messing with some other YouTubers giving me a hard time because I don't have any subscribers. So I figure the only way I'm going to get subscribers over at YouTube is to come over here and do a fireside chat. Most people can't resist the fireside. It was fun talking with you today, Jamie, from Lubbock. What's up with the videos of law enforcement Kelsey just sees posted here? Okay, so Somebody asked me to post a lot of my old Facebook videos on YouTube. So I figure I would swamp you guys with a bunch of extra content. If you're not on Facebook, you can check out my YouTube videos and see that there's been some guys trolling from this one YouTuber. I'm not even going to say her name. She's a freaking punk. She calls herself the female Howard Stern, and she is a psychopath. I'm not real. I'm just joking. I don't know that she's a psychopath. So I figured I'm just going to swamp people with my Facebook stuff because they think I just started covering this right now because I'm just now showing up on YouTube. But it's kind of a political move, too. Oh, yeah, you know who I'm talking about. She's swamping everybody. She keeps threatening to cover the Kelsey case. I'm like, come on with it. Tell us something we don't know, you know? And then people are telling me that I'm copying her. Trust me, I can barely read. I'm dyslexic, and I don't have patience to go look for shit. What I tell you is because I have some sort of connection to it, some sort of somebody, you know, I don't go looking around at everybody else's stuff. Now, you guys send me a bunch of stuff, and I look at some of that. Oh, yeah, Miss 1.4 million. You know who we're talking about. I don't even know her name. I got another somebody got on one of my Facebooks today or one of my YouTubes and was like mentioned her. She was like, if you're gonna call me something, call me by my no Laura Beck or something. That's her name. She don't like to be called by her real name. She looks like Howard. Yeah, well, I look like Woody Harrelson. But whatever. I want to go on all their Facebooks. I'll have debates with them. I'll let them tell me what son of a bitch I am. Your kids should be asleep right now. If your kids are watching this, it's craziness because my kids wouldn't even watch this. But no, if I could go on her show, I would definitely go on there and debate her. I just don't understand why people are such trolls. Trolls. They are. We call them. We call them trolls. I like messing with trolls late at night though, because all the sane people are asleep. No, there's some security guard watching my shit right now. He's like, damn, I gotta work. And that dude's sitting by a warm fire. Oh, man. Oops. I'm gonna tell you how pathetic this is. I have my fire pulled up on my big screen just to make sure my stream's working. Yo, 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 yo. Jay is for justice in the house. Uh oh. Jay stopped by the Fireside chat on YouTube. Y'all gotta be careful about Jay is for Justice and that Jamie chick from Texas. They're all trying to move to Woodland Park. Get me in trouble. All these like women moving to Woodland Park from because of the underground. People are gonna be mad at me. People coming this way because of the underground. Don't y'all know that it gets cold up here? You're a man crush. Ha ha ha. Y'all be getting me in trouble with the missus underground. Hey, Red. Did somebody just call me Red? I haven't heard that in a while. I know. We should keep all the crazy women out of Colorado. There's something in the water. Oh, who's saying hi? Oh, red is I got your red lotus. Y'all go get me one of those. What do y'all think's gonna happen with the? Oh, we love her too. Who we? I'm getting taken over by. Oh yeah, y'all have a women crush. Jamie says, "Yeah, I know." I'm getting these women writing my wife messages. You see, it will go down that these two women are psycho. Somebody will read this thread. Yeah, your wife is way too hot. She's paid. She's a paid actor. That's why you don't ever see her. Your chats are so chill. I know I'm trying not to get all passionate and too crazy. Somebody just trolled me. Crisis actor. Yep. What are y'all doing? Can't keep up with y'all. What did they say? What did who say? I don't know who. Yeah, I need to get. I'm gonna have to get one of the. I'm gonna have to get Jay is for Justice to call in on my show and let me do an interview with her about this whole rebranding issue. Get me caught up on the latest YouTube sleuth and gossip. I need me a break from this crime stuff, and I just need me some good old gossip. Let's do it. Name the time and the day. Watch out. All right, so we got to do it on the Facebook. We're gonna do it on the Facebook, um, the dad one. We're gonna do it on Dad with a Phone Facebook, and you can call in to my Facebook channel. I ain't giving none of these YouTubers none of that brilliance. I'm gonna drag them over to me, and then I'll drag them back. We'll figure out a day and a time, but it's gonna be a good juicy one because I need to do some research. So I'm gonna have to have your boys send. Hey, everyone listening to this, y'all need to send me the backstory on J is for Justice. Where was Jay before she was J is for Justice? Give me the reason why she had to do the rebranding and send me all the juiciest. And then I'll do the interview with her and we'll watch her blush. What is on fire? That's firewood. That's Casey's lumber. I'm there too, Jamie said. She said, I'm on there too. Oh man, I'm gonna have to get all hooked up. I need to get a hold of Oni and see what I need to get in my technical side of things. What software? So that I can bring y'all all in. I guess I gotta go get a web camera. I gotta go be more than a dad with a phone if I do all this. Or maybe we can just, who knows? He's gonna watch you blush. I'm glad somebody caught that. I'm a little lagged behind you guys, so I'm just seeing your comments. Y'all should have seen that news reporter blush. Oh gosh. They're never gonna air that portion, but I had her all flustered, so much so the camera guys were like, "Dude, you freaking smoked that interviewer." I think I just picked up everybody from Jazz for Justice show because, yeah, that girl, that one Neens just wrote about, is that Neens? Channing? I had her smoked. At one point, she was so flustered, she didn't know what questions to ask me. It was hilarious. Y'all gonna, I hope it works out that they use some good stuff from that. Got Jason Riddle here. Is it the Jason Riddle? How do I do all that tool stuff? Can I do that from here? Like, can I make y'all have tools and shit? Man, you don't even have to tell me, knees. I know what's up. Why y'all think I've been on her show more than anyone else's? She recognizes. I don't know how to give you a wrench from my phone. Can I just tap on that? Here we go. Put user in timeout. Should I put user? No, I'm just kidding. Add moderator? Oh, I can do that. That's what that is, right? Bam. J is for Justice is now a moderator. I don't know if I just made you a moderator, girl. Bam. Wrench that baby. Y'all better watch out. Jay's my moderator now. She gonna be running things in this joint. I just added some moderators on some of my Facebook pages. Those girls are ruthless. Do I have to do that every time, or is that from now on in my channel? We're gonna roll some other folks from now on. Sweet. I don't have to do that no more. Can I take her privilege away, or am I now locked into her forever? What if she flips and goes to the dark side? What if I say something that offends Jay? Can she, like, throw me out? She can't take over my brand now, can she? I don't want to be getting into that nonsense. I'll be in those YouTube wars. You can't take away, but what can you do? Tell, what is that? You can take away. Oh, you can. I'm just teasing. Maybe. I think I just got hijacked. Uh-oh. The little devil's out. She's taking over. Anyway, I'm just rambling now. It's in the middle of the night. We got a hot fire burning. We got a good old session beer right now. Premium lager. What's that? Criminal history. Cheers for justice. Let me know if you peeps want to cover some Canadian serial killer true crime. Ooh, you come on over here now. Knees, what if I want to cover it? Let's talk some Canadian stuff. What's going on? Tell me a little something about the Canadians. Y'all want to know a story about how I snuck into Canada one time? I'll see if y'all hear that. If you want to hear the story about, and this is a verifiable, I think I got, yeah, it's pretty verifiable. I one time snuck into Canada. See, look, I could too. See, I'm watching it here, and I'm watching it here, and I'm watching it here, and I'm watching it here. Storytell time. Y'all want to hear? Oh, it's a good one. I never told this story. I've only told this story to a few people because it's a legit. I snuck into Canada, and so um, yep, we're gonna go storytelling time. So first of all, this story starts about. Well, shit, it starts. It starts many year ago. I was uh, I was about 19 years old, and I had this girlfriend, and we decided we were gonna go on a little road trip, and we used Daddy's Texaco card and Daddy's credit card to take a little trip down to Louisiana. So we had a good old time. Shit, it was a brilliant old time. That and Daddy paid for it. Problem turned out when Daddy found out we he wasn't invited to the party he paid for, and so I ended up in court when and I had these misdemeanors, two misdemeanors. One of them was credit card abuse, and one of them was like theft under $500 because I think it was under $500 what we ended up totally spending. But this was a real charge when I was a kid, and so this is 18, 19 years old. Had these charges, went on a little fun time with the old girlfriend. Next thing I know, I got these two misdemeanor charges. So now let's fast forward past. So I go to Canada. So I get these charges, no problem. I go to Canada back and forth a few times. Um, Never have an issue. 9/11 happens, and I go about mm, almost 10 years or something. No, almost 10 years, and I'm trying to go back into Canada, and boom, this I'm at the Duluth border, and they refused to let me in. I was going in there to do a documentary about some bears, so I ended up, and so they refused to let me in. About 5 years later, I got a production up there, and I'm gonna fly into Toronto, and it was for a corporate gig. And I get up there, and I'm freaking out because I kind of think I'm like, man, they're probably gonna refuse me again. But they told me if it had gone just past the 10-year mark, I probably would have been fine. What was happening was is they just didn't have a. They can see all your back history, and they can see that there's no problems, no problems, no problems. But back there, there's this little bitty thing when I was 19 years old, and it says, now, mind you, I'm 30 at this point. This was only about 5 years ago, 4 years ago. So this was 4 years ago. I snuck into Canada, and so yeah, about 4 or 5 years ago. I guess it's only been 4 or 5 years. So I would have been right around 32. So now we're talking like well over um, 10 years and almost getting close to like 15 years. And I fly into Toronto. So I know I've been refused in the first time I was just refused into Canada, done. Now this time I know I've been refused into Canada when I try to drive in. But now I've flown right into Toronto, and I've got a week long corporate show, and I got to get into Canada. And I flew in there with the major keynote speaker. So the guy who's the main keynote speaker at this show and I are both flying into Toronto. We're both going through baggage. We're both going through customs at the same time. We get up to the customs desk. I shit you not. And they're like, oh, hey, come on, everybody's fine. He comes in through customs. I go through customs. And as I'm walking through, he goes left. And they say, Mr. Dalton, come with us to secondary. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I go to secondary. And I already know. I know the conversation. What's going to happen? I've already been here. I was here 5 years ago. It's like deja vu, except now I've just flown in Denver, Colorado, to Toronto to do. I got a freaking suite at the Ritz Carlton in downtown Toronto, and so I'm like, ah, dang man, I'm screwed. So we're sitting in I'm waiting in this line to go to the secondary talk. So I go to the secondary talk, and there's this young lady. She's probably 19, 20 years old. And here is dad with the phone, right? Man, I'm a dad. I got 3 kids now. My life is completely turned her, just a different life. And this girl's looking. She's like, I can see this is from a while back, but I can also see that you got refused to come in here. Now, this is where I had done research. So now that I was on the soil, like I was on their soil, I'd come in on an airplane, I'm in Toronto, there were a few options to happen. One, they could let me in and just say, this guy's a good guy, they're going to let me in. 2, they could refuse me. 3, if I started talking slick, I might be able to talk my way in. And so we talked through what the charges were. Tell them the story. They have all that in front of them. Like they have the actual case right in front of them, and they can read the documents and stuff. And so I tell them the story. She's like, okay, he told me the story. And I said, listen, I'm just here for a week. And they're like, well, the only thing that's kicking is we've refused you in before. And we we put a note on here, and they did. They told me the last time they refused me that I should contact the consulate and just apply for this little letter. Well, I was like, screw the Canadians. I don't want to come to Canada anyway. If you don't want to let me in, I don't want to come. Well, 5 years later, I wanted to come. So I'm sitting there at the Canadian border. I'm in Toronto. I've now gone through the keynote speaker, the guy who's like I'm going up there to support. He's freaking, he's going to the hotel now. I'm like, there's no way I'm making it into Canada. So then I start thinking of everything I've learned, everything I've read, everything that I've done to try to get myself into Canada. And at one point, they're like, we're sending you back. We're going to send you back to the U.S. We're going to put you on a plane to New York. And for some reason, I was like, a plane to New York? I came from Denver, Colorado. I mean, I have a return flight. Why don't you just let me take my return flight and I'll go back tomorrow? Because what they were saying is there's no more return flights to Denver. They were going to have to put me over to New York. And I was like, dude, you're going to stick me in New York. Then I'm going to have to get a flight to blah. Then I'm going to have to get a flight to blah. And then maybe make it back to Denver. Screw all of that. I just go back to Colorado. And the problem is they can't hold you in the airport. The Border Patrol would have had to turn me over to the Toronto Police Department. So then now I'm going to go get checked in Toronto and have to spend the night in Toronto, police in jail, and then come back to the airport. But I said, hey guys, I got a hotel room at the damn Ritz Carlton. Why don't you let me go stay at the Ritz Carlton tonight? I'll come back to the airport and you guys can take my passport and I'll go stay at the Ritz Carlton and I'll come back and whatever. And then the security the lady there was like, well, we really can't do that. But then I used this term. I said, can you grant me temporary residency? Now, what temporary residency is kind of a bypass to this whole this dude has a criminal background or this guy has something that we so the thing was is my even though in the US my charges were misdemeanors, like they were just like misdemeanor twos. um in Canada they don't have credit card abuse, they only have credit card fraud, and that's like the equivalent of like a major felony. And so they wouldn't let me in because even though I didn't have felonies, they were showing these misdemeanors as if we put them, they're kind of like felonies, and so they're keeping me out of their country because in their eyes I'm a felon, even though in the U.S. they were just misdemeanors. And so I asked for what they call temporary residency. And what that is they can grant me permission to basically come in the country not as a visitor, but as a temporary resident if I have a place to go. And I was like, I got a suite at the Ritz Carlton. Call the Ritz Carlton up and ask them if I got a room there. And that's what they did. And so Toronto calls the Ritz Carlton up. The Ritz Carlton says, yes, he's got a suite here. So this is what they tell me now. Now they tell me, Mr. Dalton, we're going to let you go to the Ritz Carlton. You can stay the night. You got to come back to the airport tomorrow. We're going to give you your passport back and we're going to put you on a plane to Denver. I'm like, okay, this is better. This is better. No, that one didn't have anything to do with mountains and my server. That only had to do with me being a dad with a phone. My phone went into and a dad with a phone and a fireplace. My phone went into temperature mode. It got too damn hot. I had it too close to the fire, even though I was sitting back here. So I guess I'm back live. I'm not sure. My television hasn't gone back live, so we're gonna see if I'm back live here when I go to stream. Man, I was right in the middle of a good ass story too. Oh, I'm live. Sweet. So we're back. I was you were in the middle. So I was in Canada. I'd gotten into Canada for the night, but it wasn't over yet. It was just getting started. So because I'd gotten in for the night, I had a lot I had to do. I needed to make sure that I could get all my videos transferred over to the guys that were going to be on location. And so I knew that with pretty much certainty that I was getting deported out of Canada come the next morning. So I hustled into the Ritz, got my stuff together, got the presentations, the videos, the special effects, that, if you will, got them all worked out so that for whatever reason, if I wasn't going to make it back, the show would go on. And so it wasn't a good night. It was a rough night, man. I was pretty pretty jacked up. I was pretty mad. I was like, man, this is crazy, dude. Something I was 19 years old is gonna haunt me when I'm 30 freaking 6 years old. This is ridiculous. 35 years old. And but nevertheless, I freaking got the show unloaded, got it all worked out. I knew it was gonna be okay. Now, the next morning rolls around. They tell me to come to this one special place at the airport. It's not like a normal place. So it was like this special sale area where they had held me for a little bit the night before. And so I go, I get to this special area, I find the special door, I go to the special door, I knock on the special door. The door opens, I go into this door, and now I know I'm in the area between the areas. Like I'm not in the US, but I'm not in Canada either. I'm in like the holding area between customs. And so previously the day before I had dealt with this young, maybe 19, 20, maybe 24-year-old at the most, somewhere right between 19 and 24 years of age. I had dealt with this lady. And she was nice. She was empathetic to my situation. They did kind of go bend over backwards, even to just get me to go to able to get me to go to the hotel the night before. And so I was expecting to have to deal with this lady. But instead, an entirely different young lady came out and has my passport and some paperwork because they had issued me this temporary residency. And she says, "You are free to go, Mr. Dalton." And I said, "What do you mean, like I'm free to go, free to go?" And she's like, "Well, we're we're not going to allow you entry into Canada, but you're free to go." And I'm like, "Okay." So like free to just go, okay. So I walk out and I'm in Canada. I'm not in the US. I'm in Canada. Well, so I go back to the hotel and and I'm there for like 3 days. And all of a sudden, I get a phone call on my hotel room number. And it's a message. It's not a phone call. It was a message that was left for me via on the thing. And I listened to it, and it's a Canadian Border Patrol officer who says, "Mr. Dalton, you are in the country illegally, and we need to speak with you." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I'm here illegally." That lady gave me my passport and told me I was free to go. And so in my head, I'm thinking, what is going on? But I'm not calling these people back. Forget that. These Canadians are way, way nice. So I'm not going to call them back. And I've only got 2 more days to go. If I can get through 2 more days of this show and then go to the airport, I can go back to the US. And by God, this is going to be a good day. Nobody's going to know the wiser. Well, we get through the next 2 days of show. Nothing goes wrong. The freaking Canadian Mounties don't show up at the Ritz-Carlton in Toronto, and they don't like haul me off. It was a great show. It's one of the best. There's a highlight video somewhere of it in one of my highlight reels. It's a great show. And we're headed back to the airport. And now I'm headed right back to the airport with the guy who I showed up with. Now, this guy happens to be an ex-NFL football player. He's a major keynote speaker. Everything is bueno. Nothing's out of the ordinary. We get to the airport, though, and we're going to get our tickets and check our bags. And I have an issue with my ticket. Like, for some reason, my ticket isn't there. But because I had all the paperwork, the gate agent was like, yeah, I can see you have a ticket. I can see you had a ticket. I don't know how this ticket got canceled. I see you're right here, and we'll get you your ticket. Don't worry, Mr. Dahl. We're going to get you your ticket. So they get me my ticket. And in Toronto, you have to go through U.S. Customs there. So then when you land in Denver, you are already in the US, you don't have to go through customs. So you go through all your customs checks with actual US customs agents in the Toronto airport. And it's kind of like right in the middle of the airport. And so, for all intensive purposes, at that very moment when you're going through US customs, you're actually on US soil. That's US soil. And so I go through customs, and there was a few questions asked, but there was nothing out of the ordinary. It was a few questions asked, and then, I'm headed to the gate. I'm at the gate, and now I'm at the gate with like multiple people. The football player, the couple of other, high profile individuals, we'll say. I'm trying to protect people here. And we're waiting for the plane. So we're sitting all there, and this is all like, again, this is a story that I'll tell the rest of my life because it just works. But you guys are hearing it first on right here on YouTube. Actually, I've never told this story on a Facebook. I've never told this story on a fireside chat. I've really never told this story outside of my closest friends and family, because what's about to take place next turns into craziness, okay? What's about to take place next could very possibly be one of the scariest things I've ever endured, and it happened at the Canadian border. It happened in the Toronto airport. And so we're at the gate, everybody's sitting there, and I see 2 Canadian Border Patrol and 2 Canadian Mounted Police come to the gate. And they're talking to the gate agent, and they have a piece of paper, and they're just looking over the crowd. Now, I want you to understand. So this was I got my passport when I was young, and I got a renewed passport, and I filled that passport up, and I had to get another renewed passport and filled that one up. So I had I had a passport, and the passport picture I had didn't look very much anything like me. One, I was a lot heavier than I am now. I was a little bit I was overweight, but I was just heavier. And then I was fat boy. I was chub boy. And then I had hair, so I had hair on the top of my head, and I didn't have any sort of facial hair. So I was clean shaved. So this is the passport photo in which these guys, I don't know for sure, but in my mind, in my stomach and everything, I am thinking, dude, these dudes are looking for me. And they're not making a scene, they're not making a big deal. And but they're looking at this picture, and they're looking into the crowd, but they don't see me. They just don't recognize me. At this point, I'm bald. I got a full beard. I had one of my manliest beards. It puts this beard to shame that I got right now. One of my full manliest beards. And I'm at the gate. I'm sitting. I got an NFL football player on one side. I got a super high VP. If I told y'all, you guys would recognize. And so, super high VP on my right. I've just spent a week in Canada. Killer shows. Things have been awesome. And now all of a sudden, these gate agents say, "Will Michael Dalton please come to the gate? Will Michael Dalton please come to the gate?" And I'm like, and the 2 guys on both my left and my right both turn, look straight at me. So I got one guy looking at me, one guy looking at me, and I'm looking at those Canadian gate agents, And they look at me and they're like, look down at the paper and look up at me and look down at the paper and look up at me. And I'm like, dude, I'm done. And so I get up and I walk over to the gate agent, and the guy says, you're gonna need to come with us. And I said, well, can I go tell my guys I was gonna fly with that, they need to call my wife, because my wife is gonna come pick me up. I'm shit. Yeah, you were shitting your pants. No, I wasn't shitting my pants, but I was definitely had that stomach. You have to understand, I've been held at other borders with guys with guns. The best possible thing. This was the Canadians, dude. Canadians are too nice. They'll be like, "Will you fucking come with us? Please, please, please fucking come with us." That's how nice they are. They'll say the fuck word, but they'll say please right afterwards. And so, and a. And so now, okay, so I'm standing there with there's four Canadian officers. I've got people that know that I'm working for looking and going, what the hell is going on? And so I said, well, let me go talk to these guys. Let me get them so I can have one of them at least call my wife and tell her, hey, I'm not gonna be home tonight, Mrs. Underground. I'm gonna be little detached at the time. So now I go over, tell these guys, call my wife. I said, I don't know what's going on. They said, is everything okay? I said, everything's fine, guys. Y'all don't worry about me. I'm a big boy. I'm a big daddy with a phone. I'm a big daddy with the phone. And so they say, sir, we're going to have to take you back through customs. And I said, okay. So now I have 4 officers, and they've created this buffer space around me. They're not drawn down on me. I got a backpack on, I got a backpack with me. And I have checked a few bags that actually checked through customs, but all I have is a backpack. And I asked them, I said, well, what's going to happen to my bags? And they're like, your bags will go on to Denver. Don't worry about your bags. I said, okay, fine. And so now I got a bag. And I'm holding my backpack, and I'm walking through the Canadian airport with 4 Canadian officers. They've like paralleled me. And they were like, are you hungry? Do you need anything to eat? And I was like, I'll take something to eat. At this point now, I'm trying to stall whatever's about to happen. So I think if I say I want something to eat, they're going to give me something to eat, which means that's going to stall wherever I'm going. And so they actually stopped right then. When I said I was hungry, they said, yeah, let's get something to eat right here. And it was this little bitty fruit juice place that had fruit juices and pretzels and like these energy drink shakes. And I got an energy drink shake and a pretzel. And then they said, we're going to walk right back through U.S. Customs. And as they said, we're going to walk right back through U.S. Customs, I said, oh my God, this is it. This is it. This is when it's going to change right here. This is when everything is going to come to a halt, and I'm going to take control of this situation immediately. And so we walk right through U.S. Customs, and there's a moment when I am now surrounded by 4 Canadian officers, and I'm surrounded by about 18 U.S. Customs officers. At that moment, I stand still, and I said, I'm a U.S. citizen. I don't know what's going on, but these guys are trying to take me back into Canada, and I'm on U.S. soil right now. That's what I said. Right in the middle of the airport, there's U.S. Customs officers all around me. There's Canadian Customs officers all around me. This is when I became a dad with the phone for real. I took my phone out. I pushed record on the thing, and now I start videoing myself in the middle of the Toronto airport in Canada, but I'm in an area that is questionable in my mind that it's U.S. soil. At that point, a U.S. Customs officer walks over to me and says, what's going on? I said, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm a U.S. citizen. I came through U.S. Customs. For all intents and purposes, I was checked into the U.S. And now these guys are wanting to take me back into Canada, and I don't want to go. He says, well, the airport agreement's a little different. He said it's not like a embassy, so I'm not protected under the same rules. But he hands me a card and he says, call this number right now. And so then I'm like, okay, but I had to quit recording. So I couldn't record and call that number. And at that point, recording was almost a show to the Canadians. And I was very much worried about what was about to take place. And so I stop recording and I call. And who I'm calling now is I'm calling the American consulate. And I'm talking to someone at the embassy, the American embassy in Canada, in Toronto. And I explained to them, and now I'm walking. Now at no point, which is phenomenal, at no point do the Canadian officers ever lay a hand on me. I stand still and I don't move, and they keep trying to tell me, let's go. But at no point did they ever lay a hand on me. They just kind of buffered this space. And as long as I didn't approach them and they didn't approach me, they just buffered the space and, didn't let people walk near me. And I'm standing in the middle of their freaking airport with my phone out going, I'm an American citizen and I don't want to go into Canada. And these dudes are trying to drag me back, And so they definitely a peaceful people in that sense. So now I'm on the phone with the American consulate and they're asking me what's going on. And I'm explaining to them I was trying to leave Canada. I have my passport, my plane ticket. I went through U.S. Customs. I explained to them the story, and they say, okay, well, just leave us on the phone, and we'll just listen, and we're just going to listen to what's going on. And so now I go into the Canadian offices. Now I'm back. I'm basically back where I started, except now I'm in a cell. So back at secondary, that first place that I started at when I was trying to get into the country 5 days earlier, I'm back in that secondary area, but instead of being like in the lobby area, I'm now behind closed doors in a cell. Now, they would call it an office, they would call it a room, they would call it whatever you want. In my mind, it's a locked square box cell with 2 chairs and a table. They did give me something to eat. They did. I was very much treated with respect and dignity to the fullest extent of anything you would find here in the U.S. and more. But I was still locked in this room. An officer, a Border Patrol officer came in. He said, Mr. Dalton, we're here because we feel like you illegally entered the country. And I said, I did not illegally enter the country. I said, you guys let me into the country. And they said, well, we let you stay the night, but then you were supposed to get on a plane and go back to America. And I said, well, I think the words your officer used was, I was free to go. And they looked at me and said, what do you mean our officer used the words, you were free to go? I said, well, they told me that when I came back, so like they let me go to the hotel and they said, be back at 6 a.m. I said, I came back at 6 a.m. I went to the little room. I went down to the little hallway, went down the little elevator, went down to the bottom. And I said, at the elevator, she handed me a piece of paper and she handed me my passport and she told me I was free to go. And at that point, I went back to the Ritz. I stayed at the Ritz. I spent money at the Ritz. We had a convention at the Ritz. I even spent some shopping. Here's some things I bought. And now I'm going back to America. And I want to go back to America now. And they said, just a second. And they go do their little thing. And they said, well, your plane's already left. And so then they give me the option. They said, well, you can stay the night in a cell in Toronto, or we can send you to New York because there's no more planes back to Denver. I said, send my ass to New York. So I went to New York, and but that's how I snuck into Canada. That's the short version of a long. Now, granted, I am no longer allowed into Canada for 5 years. Um, and after the 5 years, I have to petition the consulate to get back into Canada. So that is and for me it was a good lesson. It was a fun lesson. It didn't really cost me anything. I got my job done. I got everything done. And when it all turned out to it, what happened was is the dudes or the guys I was traveling with, they thought I was trying to smuggle some Canadian weed back to Colorado. I was like, what the crap why would I ever try to bring weed back to Colorado? I was like, this is because I snuck in to begin with. Now, here's some portions of the story I may or may not have left out. The person who handed me my passport and said I was free to go, that piece of paper may have said something on it about me going and getting a ticket and getting on an airplane and leaving. The problem was is I'm dyslexic and I can't read very well. And so I never read that piece of paper. And all I heard was I was free to go. I tried to explain that to the officers, and they told me that I was full of bullcrap, which could have been true too. But either way, I got in there. Warrior Gamma, message deleted by J is for Justice. Uh-oh, watch out. J is for Justice. She's going to be up all night moderating my my videos. They people were talking bad about me. I haven't been watching my I could tell you all others. I've been held in South Africa on borders with AKs. Been refused into some Middle Eastern countries before. Anyway. Oh, people getting ran out of town here. People getting J's for justice. Accident, she said. Accidents happen. Accidents can happen. I'm not worried about no. Oh, Warrior's back. Ouch. Watch out. Watch out. J's for justice have an accident. She'll run you out. I don't even worry about it. Sorry, Warrior. Oh, she's saying sorry. Maybe I should be worried. Listen, Jay. I've been going for an hour. I'm tired. That was a long-ass story for a short-ass ending. Got my job done, snuck into Canada. Had fun. It's a good day. Oh. I don't even know what y'all been talking about. Y'all might not even been listening. I'm out of here. Y'all have fun. Thanks, Jay, for sticking around and moderating all that BS, whatever that was. I'm just teasing. I'm out.